Hello, it's Lee here. Thanks for joining me. I just wanted to pop in for a few minutes and show you what I've been up to. I'm making a botanical nature themed journal, so I just have a few things that I want to show you where I'm at with it, and I'm going to make my pages and then I'm going to make my cover to match my pages. So what I've got so far are these ones. Just group them together because I thought they'd go together. So I've been inspired by Jibid Neri, and she had made some pages where she had stitched, I'm not sure whether it was vellum, but it was something translucent similar to what I've put on there. So that is vellum. Yeah, so it's book page there, tracing paper with a bird printed on it, bit of eco-dyed cloth. That's a pocket. There's a little tuck spot there, but there's also the pocket there and the pocket there. And I've done a bit of stamping on it too, but I love the stitching, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. This one is just a bit more simple. So it's tea-dyed paper, and I've just stitched on a piece of, I did some experimenting with waxing and oiling papers to see what turned out the best, and then I just sewed a scrap of that green on there as well. And then this is tracing paper. I started off with oxide inks on it, and then I put alcohol inks on top of it. So that's another page there. This one, another tea-dyed page, and I've printed 2 flowers on tracing paper and stitch that on, so they actually serve as a pocket for each page. There's those ones. So I'm doing my fancy pages first, and then I'm going to top it up with, the more mundane things. Had another practice with some fake eco dyeing, and I made this particular one. So this was done with the basic, what is it? It's Artist pigmented ink instead of the oxides, but I did have to go around and do the edge with ground espresso because I didn't have a dark colour. So that didn't turn out too bad. I didn't really think about how the colours would react with each other. I really like this area here. I think that's nice. Yeah, so I'm going to experiment more with some of that. But on the inside is another piece of that tracing paper. And this is tracing paper that's been printed. It's part of that other one, and I've got used a page out of a book. It's just an exercise book, 48 page, and I dunked it in coffee. I did this ages ago. When the coffee had dried out, I then just stenciled paint onto it, so there's all sorts of things in there, and I'd never used it. I forgot I even had it, and when I was having a bit of a clean up I found it. So I made a flip up, and underneath there's 2 pockets there, but that's also a pocket behind it. Bit of fake old sticky tape, and then another fake eco dyeing session with leaves, but I used coffee instead of water. So coffee and Distress Oxide made those marks, and some more of that alcohol inked tracing paper there. And this one I really like. So it's a book page, like out of a book, and that's another part of that tracing paper with the birds printed on it. So that page opens up like that. It's sewn on here with zigzag stitch and some fake washi tape. But this picture, because the book was bigger, I just folded down the rest of the page so it flips down. And on the other side, that was more of the same page, so I decided to flip it that way. I'll glue that down to make a tuck spot, but I used sandpaper to make the page look really old and inked over it, and that's a bit of eco-dyed fabric there. So I'm grouping these together in the hope that that's the way the signatures are going to go. So I've got one more signature to show you. So this paper here, that's not eco dyeing. Well, I suppose it is in a way. I did the leaf transfers with only This side's better. Coffee. That's all I used was coffee. And I had to leave it for about a day and a half to get that. Anyway, this is what I made. This is the page. So I've got book page pockets there, stitched around each one. I've stitched around most of my pages. It's got a cloth flip up there, or tip in, I'm not sure what you call it. Then I've got this here with a little window in it, and that flips out, and that's journaling space. That closes up. This is a page out of an Edith Holden book. So it was a double page, and I loved the butterflies, so it was a simple one. Just fold the bottom up, sew around the edge. This one is another page out of that same nature book that I've got. This one's been sandpapered as well to make it look a bit older, and inked, stitched around the outside, and I've stitched on a tea-dyed piece of paper with a tab, and that just pulls out like that. On this side, got there's a journaling space. So that's what I've made so far as pages go. I've got lots of other things, but I don't want to show you them at the moment. They're not quite complete. But what I did do, you know how you can make washi tape with tissue and stamp on it and put it onto double-sided tape to make washi? I did a little bit of experimenting, and I made these, and I think they look really nice. So it's all done with double-sided tape. Well, this one is a printable, and I printed it onto rice paper, and you put the double-sided tape on it. It's really easy when the double-sided tape is on the paper to separate it. I should just do a bit, show you if I can find the paper. I'll just use a piece of this telephone book. So I've got double-sided tape here. So if I wanted to, let's say, just put a bit there. When you tear it, because of the tape, it tears along the edge of the tape, and it comes off really easy. And you didn't have to use my scissors, and you get that nice organic edge along it. So that's there. So if I just take that off, and I'll just open it up and stick it in here, and then you've got your fake washi. So what I made some out of was tracing paper that had a printable on it. That is paper towel out of the rubbish bin actually, and I'd been mopping up excess ink on it, and I thought that looked nice. This here is a piece of wax paper. I was experimenting with waxing and oiling paper. So I found that the oiled paper, the double-sided tape won't stick to it, but it will stick to the waxed paper. So that was interesting. And these are some of the pieces that I got. So they're delicious. Love them. Yeah, so that was waxed, where you melt the wax onto the paper. This is serviette, napkin. I found this really easy to do. So it's just separate the bottom layer off the napkin. And I did it two ways. This one was the back side, and that's the front side of it, just to see how different it turned out. So that was the underside, and that's the top side. This is a piece of that tracing paper that was on my pages that I just showed you. This one here was, you know how you put the sticky tape onto book page and then you pull sticky tape up and it takes the print off and a little bit of paper. So I did that, and then I put that onto the double-sided tape. That was more of this paper here, but with a different colour on it. This sort of looks like old tape. This is bits of the vellum that I had on the book page. So that turned out really well, and I just ripped it apart after I put the tape on. I had baking paper. I wasn't sure whether baking paper would stick to it, and it does. but that's just white stuff, so that's why you probably can't even see it. So I just ruled around it, but I had some brown stuff. I've run out of it, but I reckon if you use the you know, the brown baking paper, that it would turn out really well. That was just plain book page there. Just bring it up. Now this is dictionary page, and it has been oiled. And now this has got oxide inks on it, and it's stuck to the double-sided tape. The pages that I did that didn't have oxide ink wouldn't stick to the tape, so obviously that oxide ink does something that makes the stickiness work. That's more of that tracing paper. No, it's off this. So that, where are we? Sorry, I'm jigging you around everywhere. That paper here was a full A4 sheet of birds. So I had another bit here, and it got ink on it somehow. So then I thought, well, I'm going to try it on other parts of the printout. So that's actually part of the bird, and I love those. I think they're awesome. And that's more of that tracing paper. Here's the vellum. Oops. Yeah, how easy it is to make some really interesting and beautiful washi tapes. They're not, I suppose they're not really washi tapes, are they? But you know what I mean. If you can call tissue that you've stamped on and stuck to double-sided tape washi tape, well then I can call this washi tape. And I was thinking, you know how you type up, you know, the sentiments and things, you could do your sentiments in the same way. That's another piece of that paper towel. So I just got it out of the bin. Let's have a look. What's in here? Okay, here's one. It's not real interesting, but it'll work. Separate the layers. That's probably going to be the better side. I didn't worry about smoothing it out or anything. I just stuck the tape on. Wrinkles and all. Oops. Tear it out. So that's that. Remove the backing tape. I just thought all through my journal that these are going to look nice, little bits here and there, just to add some details, and that's what it looks like. So it's neat, eh? I love it, and you can, I mean, if you don't like the excess hanging off, you can pull it off. But yeah, so I just thought I'd show you that. Hope you have a go and make some yourself, and I'll see you in another video. So thanks for watching, and I'll say cheers from Australia. Hooroo!